Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be diving into the fascinating world of strategy execution.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got a great source for this deep dive, an HBR article by Kaplan and Norton, the masterminds behind the Balanced Scorecard. We're on a mission here to
Yeah.
try to understand why companies struggle so much to actually execute their strategies
Yeah.
and discover how this idea of an Office of Strategy Management might be the solution.
I think it's a puzzle that has puzzled business leaders for a really long time.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
spend so much time, you pour resources into these plans, and,
Yeah, and then nothing.
and then crickets.
It's like there's this hidden like force field between the strategy document
Right.
and like the real world where the actual work needs to happen.
Yeah, there really is. And Kaplan and Norton don't mince words about how widespread this problem is.
Oh, really?
Their article starts with a statistic that's pretty alarming. 7 out of 8 companies fail to achieve profitable growth,
Wow.
despite having these incredibly detailed strategic plans.
Oh, 7 out of 8.
Yeah.
That's worse odds than like anything you'd want to bet on in Vegas.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like they're setting themselves up for failure from the beginning.
And here's what's even more interesting is this 95% of employees don't even understand the strategy.
Oh, wow.
So you've got these plans up at the top, but the people who are actually responsible for making it happen are in the dark.
So it's like you're trying to build a house and the architect never talks to the construction crew.
That's a perfect analogy.
And it's no wonder so many strategic initiatives just end up as like a pile of rubble.
It really highlights why this idea of an Office of Strategy Management, or OSM, is so intriguing. It's all about bridging that gap between, the C-suite and the people who are doing the work.
Okay, so the OSM is like the translator or maybe the master coordinator of making the strategy happen.
Yeah, they make sure everyone's speaking the same language.
So instead of strategy being this mysterious thing that only executives understand, it's a shared language everyone in the company can speak.
Exactly. And Kaplan and Norton are not just proposing another layer of, bureaucracy.
Oh, really?
They're advocating for a shift in how companies think about strategy.
So it's less about, pronouncements from on high.
Right.
It's more about this like culture of strategic alignment from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be powerful.
Yeah.
But do they offer any examples of how this plays out in the real world?
They do, and some pretty compelling case studies.
Oh, wow.
One that really stood out for me was the story of Chrysler's turnaround in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
They were looking at a potential $5 billion deficit and facing collapse.
That's a pretty high-stakes situation.
Talk about high stakes.
You would think their focus would be on survival,
Yeah, you would think.
not on fancy new management concepts.
Right, but the new CEO, Dieter Zetsche, he realized the old way just wasn't working. They brought in Bill Russo, who spearheaded their Balanced Scorecard implementation and eventually formed their Office of Strategy Management.
So they formed an OSM during a crisis.
Yeah.
That's either really brave or really foolish.
It turned out to be a stroke of genius.
Really?
The newly formed OSM helped Chrysler design and implement the Balanced Scorecard, but also, more importantly, they made sure everyone from the factory floor to the executive suite understood the strategy.
Oh, wow.
And, their part in making it happen.
Okay, I'm guessing this story has a happy ending.
It does.
Okay, good.
Within just a few years, Chrysler went from a projected $5 billion loss to $1.2 billion in earnings.
Wow.
They launched these great new cars, and they got back on their feet.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
But maybe Chrysler's a unique case.
Right.
They were in a life or death situation, so maybe they were more receptive to these radical changes
That's a fair point.
than a company that's doing well.
But Kaplan and Norton also offer another example, and it's about as far away from the corporate world as you can get. The U.S. Army.
Wait, the Army has an Office of Strategy Management.
Yeah.
I'm picturing generals in camouflage huddled around a whiteboard.
Well, maybe not quite like that.
Okay.
But it is fascinating to see how they applied these principles.
Yeah,
It's this incredibly complex organization.
I can imagine.
They have what they call the Strategic Readiness System,
Yeah.
SRS,
Uh-huh.
and it works like a central nervous system,
Okay.
making sure that every command from the Pentagon to the front lines is working toward the same strategic objectives.
That makes sense. You've got troops stationed all over the world, so
Right.
keeping everyone on the same page strategically must be a nightmare.
Exactly, and the Army faces a lot of the same challenges as large corporations.
Oh, really?
Aligning diverse teams, coordinating complex projects, adapting to rapidly changing environments.
Yeah.
And the SRS helps them overcome these obstacles by providing clarity, focus, and a shared understanding of the mission.
So we've got a car company in crisis and the U.S. Army, two very different organizations, both using this OSM model.
Right.
It's starting to feel like this isn't just some niche management fad.
It brings up an important question. If an OSM is so effective in these really complex environments,
Yeah.
could it be even more valuable for companies starting from scratch?
Oh, wow.
Like, imagine building that alignment into your organization from day one.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
But before we go too far down that road, I think we need to unpack what makes an OSM work.
Yeah.
What are the key ingredients that make this approach so successful?
That's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Kaplan and Norton have identified 9 core responsibilities
Okay, 9 responsibilities.
of a high-performing OSM.
All right, let's hear it.
And they form this comprehensive framework for driving strategy execution.
Okay.
It's not just random tasks.
I'm ready to take notes.
So the first one's all about the balanced scorecard itself.
Okay.
The OSM is responsible for creating and managing the scorecard, translating the company's vision into these measurable objectives, setting targets, and identifying the strategic initiatives to achieve them.
So they're like the architects of the strategy,
Yeah.
making sure that blueprint is clear and leads to the desired outcome.
Precisely. And they don't just hand off the scorecard and say, good luck with that.
Right.
They're constantly monitoring progress,
Oh, okay.
collecting data, and making sure that the information is accurate and reliable.
That makes sense. Data is only useful if it's accurate.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just guessing.
Exactly.
What else is on the OSM to-do list?
One of their most critical roles is aligning the entire organization around the strategy.
Oh, wow.
They act as the glue,
Yeah.
holding everything together,
Okay.
working across departments and teams to make sure everyone's rowing in the same direction.
I can imagine that's a massive task.
Yeah, it is. But the OSM has some powerful tools.
Like what?
They facilitate workshops,
Okay.
provide training,
Okay.
act as a central point of contact for all things strategy.
So they're always communicating, always collaborating.
Yeah, constantly building bridges between different parts of the organization.
So they're like the master communicators, the facilitators, the diplomats of the strategy world.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Breaking down silos, fostering a shared understanding of the company's direction, and making sure that everyone's individual goals are aligned.
But let's be realistic. Sometimes strategies need to change.
Right.
The market shifts.
Yeah.
New competitors come in unexpected challenges.
And that's where their role in strategy review comes in.
Okay.
They work closely with the leadership team to establish these regular strategy review meetings.
So not just like a superficial check-in?
No.
This is like really digging deep.
They dive deep into the data, they identify red flags,
Okay.
and make those course corrections.
So they're like the strategic navigators scanning the horizon for obstacles and making sure everyone stays on track.
I like that analogy.
Thanks.
They're also responsible for going beyond those annual planning sessions and really developing the strategy. You know, they keep a close eye on the competitive landscape. They track key performance indicators and constantly look for those opportunities to refine and adapt the strategy to the changing market.
So it's not just about executing the plan, but creating this dynamic process of continuous improvement.
But even the most brilliant strategy is useless if no one understands it.
Right.
And that's where communication comes in.
Okay.
The OSM plays a vital role in crafting these really clear, inspiring messages about the strategy.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone understands not just what it is, but why it matters.
So they're like the storytellers of the strategy.
Yeah, the evangelist.
Making it resonate with people at all levels of the organization.
Using all sorts of channels to reach everyone from the CEO to the frontline employees.
Okay, so we've got the OSM, building the scorecard, aligning the organization,
Right.
facilitating those strategy reviews,
Yeah.
and communicating the strategy. What else?
Well, remember those strategic initiatives we talked about?
The ones that turn strategy into action.
Exactly. The OSM plays a key role in managing those.
Right.
They oversee the entire portfolio,
Oh, wow.
track progress, identify roadblocks, and make sure resources are allocated correctly.
So they're like project management gurus?
Yeah, a very apt
Gets
description.
everything on track.
But it goes even further.
Really?
They're also responsible for integrating the strategy with 3 key functions:
Oh, wow. What are those?
planning and budgeting,
Okay.
human resources, and knowledge management.
Okay, break those down for me.
So with planning and budgeting, the OSM works closely with the finance department
Uh-huh.
to make sure that the budget aligns with strategic priorities.
So no more funding those pet projects
Right.
that don't contribute to the goals.
Every dollar spent should be a strategic investment.
I like that.
Then there's human resources.
Mm-hmm.
The OSM collaborates with HR to ensure that hiring, training, performance reviews, and compensation are all aligned with the strategy.
So it's not just about having the right strategy, but the right people
Exactly.
with the right skills to execute that strategy.
And finally, there's knowledge management.
Okay.
The OSM works to create this culture of learning
Oh, wow.
and best practice sharing,
Okay.
making sure that those valuable insights are captured and disseminated throughout the organization.
So they're like the knowledge curators,
Yeah.
helping the organization learn from its successes and its failures.
Exactly.
Wow, that's quite a list.
It is?
It raises the question, though.
Yeah.
Where does this OSM fit within a company's structure?
Right.
And how big does this team need to be?
Yeah. Because if we're talking about creating a new department with dozens of employees that could scare some companies off,
For sure.
that's a common concern.
Yeah.
Kaplan and Norton say that OSMs are designed to be lean and efficient.
Okay.
Often they need only 6 to 8 full-time people, even in large companies.
That's a lot smaller than I was
Yeah.
picturing. I thought this was going to be a sprawling bureaucracy.
No. The OSM is all about facilitation, coordination, and communication. It's not about creating more work. It's about making the existing work more strategic and effective.
So they're like a strategic catalyst,
Exactly.
helping the organization achieve more with less.
Precisely.
I like that.
And you know what's interesting?
What's that?
They found that setting up an OSM doesn't usually require hiring a bunch of new people.
Oh, that's good news.
Often, these are the very people who led the Balanced Scorecard implementation in the first place.
Oh, okay.
People from planning, finance.
So you're leveraging that internal talent,
Exactly.
giving them the opportunity to be leaders.
And in some cases, creating an OSM can actually reduce headcount
Really?
by streamlining processes and improving communication.
So you're eliminating redundancies.
Yeah.
You're making the organization more efficient.
Exactly.
So it's not just about doing things differently.
Yeah.
It's about doing things better.
Precisely. And that's what the OSM is all about, helping organizations achieve their goals
Yeah.
more effectively, efficiently, and with more alignment and focus.
I got to admit, I'm getting excited about this OSM idea. It's
Yeah.
this missing link in the strategic planning process.
It is.
So let's bring it back to our listener.
Okay.
What does all this mean for them?
Right.
Could their organization benefit from having an OSM?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
But I do think Kaplan and Norton offer some valuable clues.
Oh, good.
They suggest if your company struggles to translate strategic plans into results,
Uh-huh.
or if you've got communication breakdowns,
Okay.
or misaligned priorities,
Yeah.
or if you just want to take your execution to the next level,
Yeah.
then maybe it's time to explore this OSM model.
Yeah, for sure.
It might be the missing piece of your puzzle.
It seems like a no-brainer for organizations like Chrysler
Right.
and the U.S. Army.
Uh-huh.
But what about smaller companies?
I think they can benefit too.
Really?
These core principles of strategy management apply to businesses of all sizes. It's about clarity, alignment, and execution.
Yeah.
Even a small team can benefit from having someone responsible for the strategy.
Right.
Someone keeping everyone on the same page.
So it's not about having this big department.
Right.
It's about focus
It's about focus.
on strategy execution.
It's about making strategy everyone's job,
Yeah.
no matter the size of the company.
This has been a really insightful deep dive.
It has.
We've gone from this perplexing problem of
Mhm.
why companies struggle
Uh-huh.
to this potential solution. The Office of Strategy Management.
That's right.
We've seen how this works in practice for organizations like Chrysler and the U.S. Army,
Yeah,
and even considered how smaller companies can adapt these principles.
absolutely.
And the best part is this isn't about adding more bureaucracy.
Not at all.
It's about simplifying and clarifying and aligning.
That's right.
It's about making strategy a living, breathing part of your organization.
Mhm. And not just a document.
So for our listeners out there who are intrigued and wondering if this might be right for their organization,
Mm-hmm.
what's the first step?
I think you start by having an honest conversation with your leadership team.
Okay.
Ask yourself some tough questions.
Like what?
How effectively are we executing our strategy today?
Okay.
Are we truly aligned?
Yeah.
Are we measuring the right things?
Okay.
Are we holding ourselves accountable?
Good questions.
And if the answers aren't so good,
Yeah.
then maybe it's time to explore this OSM model.
That's a great call to action.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive
Yeah, this was fun.
into the world of strategy management.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep those strategic wheels turning.
I like that.